What's up, good people? It's your girlfriend, aka the equalizer of your mental health matters, helping you to gain a more balanced perspective so that you can live a wealthy and colorful life. This week, I had a conversation with someone, and one of the things that we've been talking about in their lives is obtaining clarity. They have stated over and over again that they just want to have clarity about different things in their lives. So yesterday, as we were having the conversation, again, when I asked them what their intent was to walk away with regard to the end of the session, they said again, clarity. And as we began to talk about it and we began to process clarity, one of the things that came up was this idea of permission over clarity. That's right, permission over clarity. My thought was, I'm wondering how many of us are actually not tapping into the clarity that is available to us, not because it's not there, not because we don't actually have access to it, but we haven't given ourselves permission to walk in the clarity that is there. It made me think about some of the things that we are prone to not give ourselves grace in that we would give grace to others for. It also caused me to think of some of the people in our lives that we have engagements, regular encounters with, who themselves have barriers to clarity in their own lives. Yet when we ask them questions about ours, or when they come to us about certain things, we can offer them certain information, or they'll offer us certain information that sometimes is unsolicited, that they believe can bring about some level of clarity for us, or something that they think we should know, or a way that they think we should do certain things in our lives. One of the things that we landed on was that the same grace that we offer other people when it comes to living life, learning new things, walking with other people in life, is that if we can give it to other people, surely if we give ourselves permission to tap into grace for ourselves, you can fill in the blank with whatever you need to give yourself permission to do. Then, as we give ourselves permission, the clarity will come. For me, I know personally, one of the things that I've had to give myself permission to do is to lay down what other people think about who I am, the way that I operate, what they think about my appearance, maybe what they think about me as a person. I can recall very clearly having an encounter with the mother of one of our friends, and hearing this person say, I used to think you were stuck up. And I was completely baffled. Now, if I had allowed it to, that could have become a blockage in my clarity about who I am. I know I'm not stuck up. I know I don't carry myself that way. I know that I try to be friendly and kind to everybody that I encounter. But because of that person's whatever they had going on with them at the time, that was their perspective of me. And that was what they viewed, or what they saw from their perspective of whatever it was that they were walking through in their lives at the time. And just like they can change over time, I can change over time, people can change over time. Things can change over time. The way that I view certain things now is not the same way that I may view them even in the next 5 minutes, tomorrow, even. Why can that be true? Because I can give myself permission to embrace something that is not um or release. I give myself permission to release something that's not serving me well, and give myself permission to embrace something that does, something that aligns with my spirituality, something that aligns with my personal values, something that aligns well with my morals and ethics. And even those things over time, the way that I look at those things can change based off of what I learn, because we're supposed to be learning and growing all the time. The challenge, though, is that sometimes we don't give ourselves permission to learn and to grow. And then sometimes, because we haven't given ourselves permission to learn and to grow. Then we begin to start blaming other things outside of us for our lack of growth or the stunt of our growth or just stagnation in our lives or cycles that are repeating in our lives when in all actuality we have the power to give ourselves permission to move from that place, to take one step forward, to think about things differently, to embrace new things, to embrace better things, healthier things, wealthier things. So I want to challenge you with three questions here. One of the first questions I want to ask you today is what areas in your life actually need permission over clarity? In what areas do you actually need to embrace giving yourself permission over having clarity in those areas? Next question is what are the barriers to giving yourself permission? Because if we have any blockages in our clarity, if we have any interferences with our clarity, very likely there's some type of barrier there that's keeping us from obtaining the clarity that we need in certain areas. And I'll go ahead and be honest. One of the greatest areas that has served as a barrier for me is fear of missing out, FOMO, right? FOMO has kept me in a space sometimes of not having the best clarity because I'm trying to move too fast instead of slowing down and being able to see what is it that I already have, what resources are already available to me, and who is already in my life, who is already impacting my life in a healthy and positive way. In other words, who's already sitting at my table. When I slow down and when I address the fear of missing out, then I can have better clarity for my life. And last one, number three, what is one thing that you're willing to grant yourself permission to do so that you can have clarity in your life as it concerns certain areas? And here's the challenge, y'all. You can just throw don't or stop in front of a statement or not in front of a statement, but I want to challenge you to put it positively instead of just saying stop doing this. Maybe you start doing something else that's actually healthier. And for example, you may say, I could just say, I want to stop doing blah, 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 blah. I want to stop, listening so much to other people instead of saying I want to start being able to trust what my discernment told me about this situation better. So I'm going to trust that I have an answer about certain things that is the right answer. So that's a positive spin on it instead of putting stop or don't in front of it. Hope that makes sense. So this week, the challenge is to embrace giving yourself permission over the obtaining of clarity. Because once you really embrace that, you have what you have, some things will be clearer to you just almost instantly. When you give yourself permission to see what you already have, to understand that you bring value, what light you bring to a space, when you give yourself permission to make mistakes, to continue learning, continue growing, the clarity will come as you give yourself permission. Listen, I don't know who said it to you or if anybody said it to you this week already, but if no one has said it to you this week, I want to let you know that I am proud of you. I'm proud of all of the intentional efforts that you're making to take better care of yourself so that you can contribute to this world in a healthy way and you can enjoy your life. With that being said, make sure you check out all of our social media platforms, including Your Mental Health Matters on YouTube, YMHM LLC on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. And then follow us for Wellness Wednesdays. Any of those platforms, you can follow us, like and share, make sure people know about what we're doing, where we are. We're planning a health fair in September on the 12th. I'll be providing more information about that fair as the time gets closer. But know that we are embracing, loving you from where we are. We are definitely hopeful that everything you hear is somehow beneficial and helpful to your life in a way that is meaningful and helps add value to your life. So if it's adding value to you, guess what? It could probably add value to someone else. And y'all, I'm trying to help us get to 1,000 followers on YouTube. Y'all help us out. So go to YouTube, start sharing videos, make sure that people know we're there. We're trying to get some improvements there. We're trying to improve the reach that we have. So make sure that you like and share, and also follow us on YouTube. So, that being said, thanks for joining us for the Wellness Wednesday check in. It's your girlfriend, aka the Equalizer, helping you to gain a more balanced perspective so that you can live a wealthy and colorful life. Peace.